Is sex the cheat code?
Is sex a cheat code?
Yeah. Is it the cheat code? If you know how to get sex out of somebody,
Get sex out of somebody.
Make
trick them into sexing you?
not just trick them, make them want to lose their inhibitions. You know what I mean? Like,
Open up their freak.
why do groupies exist? You know, how
Groupies exist.
Not just groupies.
Low self-esteem.
No, there's
Okay.
a lot of people that are fans of people just based on they're inspired.
Yeah,
There's
be fans
people-
of them, but not necessarily all just, swallow their children. You know what I mean?
Why not? Maybe
just
you're mesmerized by that person.
I'm just saying, I can be a fan of somebody and not want to fuck them.
True, but there is a power.
Nothing wrong with being a groupie either. I'm just saying I'm just answering the question. I'm not looking down on you. You want to fuck them. If just because somebody is whatever and you want to sleep with them, that's awesome. Do it. Be you. But, you could probably have a higher standard for who you want to fuck, probably, other than someone who's just like good at something.
You got to be a special kind of somebody to make a girl
A groupie? Yeah.
suck your dick on stage.
Yeah.
All right.
Special kind of groupie.
Eat pussy on stage.
Yeah, especially if you didn't want to or even had any interest in eating.
Bust it open.
Vagina. Well, that's dancing, so maybe not.
Strippers.
It's dancing.
Let me assimilate what I'm talking about right here.
You want to assimilate?
Assume.
Wait, hold up. Let's stop on. You're going to assume.
But I'm going to assimilate my assume.
Wow. I'm lost in a deep, deep ocean of words that don't exist.
That's what Uncle Luke was lost in. And there's an ocean right next to Miami.
Oh, yeah.
And there's an ocean of pussy around the world.
Ooh.
And this man is the skipper. This man is the commander.
Talking about Luke?
The navigator. Uncle Luke Skywalker. Luther Campbell.
I'm by winning.
What is it about a man that can make not just a woman, but men lose their inhibitions on stage? You thought Elvis was gyrating?
You want to.
Until Uncle Luke came along and made your mother eat some pussy on stage. You know how many women there are right now that are mothers that were probably at an Uncle Luke show,
some crazy
Freak
stuff.
Nick, whatever, the Two Life Crew tour, and did some shit that she's probably proud of at the time, but probably not proud of now. Or at least she doesn't want her kids to know.
Yeah, man.
How do you find out?
How do you find out?
To ask your mom, are you an Uncle Luke fan?
Yeah.
And then you just got to be like, did you go to any of his shows?
You got to be honest, right? or hide it till you die. Which way you want to go? I'd be honest, but that's just me, because I probably wouldn't be in that situation to begin with. But if I was there at that time, I take that back. I may, get into some shit sometimes that isn't necessarily something I'd be proud of later. So, but I'd have to be honest about it, especially if it was happening. And I'd try at my later age to not judge. I'd try, like just now when I was about to judge, but then I think back to some time where I maybe wasn't as smart as I was.
Why don't we judge Uncle Luke like that? Why don't we? Do you think people look at him like I look at him like a fucking Hugh Hef? But I'm sure some people are disgusted by who he is or what he represents.
Well, people put their own perceptions and their own shit. They're looking through your own lens.
Yeah, but he's like how we were talking again about Miami, but we were talking about the porn industry in Miami,
Yeah.
And some people always look at those jobs like, oh my God, you're doing something.
It's taboo, right? You're fucking for money, right?
But in Miami,
that's how it's looked at. Again, in different parts of the world, it's just not looked at like that.
Miami's
but here
like
it is,
whatever.
because that's the country we live in, and we live in the South, even if it's Miami.
Imagine that.
So
not even to mention, it's crazy like that in the South, but there is no real structure in the South, especially like the music industry.
Mm-hmm.
There was no structure at the time. Like, we give praise to like James Prince from Rap
so
A
we're
Lot.
in the 91.
No, this is
89?
like 84 to 86. He starts to build this up, okay? There's no Master P. There's no James Prince. There is a little bit of like Russell Simmons, all right? But Russell Simmons is partnered up with the big machine, the big music industry, because he's in New York, right? And New York is like the motherland of hip hop, right?
Yeah, the Mecca.
What's crazy is a lot of Jamaican influence in hip hop. DJ Big Herc or Cool Herc, right? In the Bronx. He brought that Jamaican culture with the big sound systems, and he's gonna start the
vibe.
Right. So he brought that to, at the time in New York, right? There was these crazy block parties going on, and this is where hip hop started arising. So he would play the break beat, right? And then kids would start to break dance, and then that's where hip hop culture was birthed. But around the same time, another Jamaican in Miami, he's Jamaican, and his father's Jamaican, his mother's from I think the Bahamas or Barbados.
Oh man,
Island Man, and he's bringing this Miami bass, a new sound.
Oh yeah,
around this 10 years later, but still a forefather of new culture. And you're not like, you don't have anything. We're gonna find out that Luke was the guy that was bringing in all these New York artists to Miami and to Florida, and that's where he started getting an idea. Like,
culture.
I'm already breaking these records. I should start breaking my own records.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. And changing the world. Absolutely changing the world.
We would never
pissing a lot of people off.
I think Luke single-handedly killed the slow dance.
Wow. Oh, like in the club? Like in the going out and slow dancing with your lady?
Do you remember
doesn't really happen much.
You remember when slow dances was cool at the dance?
At the dance, was man.
But then there was the other part of the dance when she was going to grind up on you.
Hell yeah, she was.
And it's because of Uncle Luke. Uncle Luke brought that to the party. Booty dancing, Doodoo Brown. That got a lot of people.
Yeah, I'm looking back. Looking back, that definitely changed the vibe of the night. Right? Yeah, it did.
In the 80s, they were really into reality rap, right? You had the Public Enemies talking about,
Police
black
brutality,
culture, white oppression, you know what I mean? Becoming a man, you know what I mean? And in the shadow of a crazy government that doesn't look at you as a man, right?
Right.
And then
or
you had
like you at all.
NWA that was like fuck the police. But before even all that, you had Uncle Luke talking about sex.
Yeah, man.
And people were afraid about it. People were like, this.
Well, again, especially back then, wasn't what's the lady's name?
Madonna?
Nah.
She's like a virgin?
Never
around the same time.
We're probably gonna see. I'll say that's who I was talking about. But she had a lot of problems with the way they were she was in government.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there was a judge that was
I did do my research.
Well, there was a judge in Miami that I think his name was Martinez, because there's a song called Fuck Martinez.
Oh, man.
And it's about this federal judge that's trying to throw them in jail for obscenity laws. Like, imagine that. Like
this is some Puritan shit, man. Like, where you can,
it's the 80s.
Right, and they're doing all mounds of cocaine, all sorts of but I'd assume there was some sort of racial component.
Absolutely. Hugh Hefner's doing this in the 50s.
You know what I mean?
Hugh Hefner's doing the same thing in the 50s.
How dare he? You know what I mean? How dare he?
Rap about pussy!
See, to even say it, because it's vulgar, right? Maybe because, and that's one of those things that you kind of when I'm at a bar with somebody and I tell them that hip hop is everywhere and everything, you know what I mean? It's the most influential since it was birthed, almost not instantly, but very quickly became the pusher of all culture across all gambits. You know what I mean? Maybe that speaks to it because other people were saying it, but when hip hop said it, it said it louder and it said it to younger audiences. And now all of a sudden, so-and-so is senator of Wisconsin or some shit, and his little 8-year-old daughter's like, that fuck that pussy, that bitch. What is that shit? You know what I mean?
It's Uncle Luke, daddy.
She's not reading Playboy. You know what I mean? She's not in there looking at Hugh Hefner's whatever. The little boy might be, maybe, but so was dad. dad's reading Playboy. So if son reads Playboy, it's like, oh, son, come on. You know what I mean? Well, but if dad's not fucking rapping to Luke, but son's rapping to Luke, and he's popping pussies and Doodoo Brown and all of that shit, and it's not a good look for Senator McPherson from whatever his name is, you know?
That was happening across the board. Even within hip-hop itself, they were having a separation of I guess, power, right? Because they looked at Uncle Luke as competition, but they were saying that Southern rap bass music was not hip-hop.
Right.
Like, what is that? That's dance music. That's not hip-hop.
Well, they said everything was either beef, you know, New York beef with every fucking body because it wasn't the way it was birthed to this day. And to some extent, they're right. You know, if we're just talking about what it was, what you guys made it, then you're right. It's not the same thing. You're absolutely right.
But it is.
But that it's not that. It's not that. Now it's this. You know what I mean? That ain't even that no more. You know what I mean? It's this now. So it's not that. You're right. It's not that.
You think in 50 years, because something Uncle Luke even said, he said that Southern hip hop, will be the end all of hip hop. Even though it started in New York, because the Southern, from let's go South Carolina to Texas, right, and everything in between, is our map for Southern hip hop. And in the future, I mean, Southern hip hop is at the top, going on 20 years now. You know what I mean? New York is kind of take a second place to a lot of Southern culture. In 50 or 100 years, will we even be talking about the little blimp? Other than the fact that it started there, it will look like a speck in the spectrum of the time of hip hop. It will look like a speck, because if we're going on 20 years and in let's say 40 years, Southern hip hop is still the more popular hip hop. You know what I mean? Like that's what's crazy.
I disagree. And this is simply because of how it all started. The Big Bang, bro. Like, do we forget about the Big Bang, even though all sorts of crazy shit happened after the Big Bang and things were discovered and crazy in the spectrum of the world? Not you think of when it started. It was like, where did it start? You know? So it's always, to me, I'm not even like a head. I'm not a hip hop head. Clearly, like, I don't have all the history readily available in my brain. I know what I like. I know what I grew up on. I know, you know, all of these things. But if I'm just talking about like creation and like what's important there, it's not even a speck, bro. It's just like a crazy nuclear explosion of creativity and timing and people being prepared and talented. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's kind of like when you think about rock and roll, all you think about is the crazy white bands. When rock and roll was really started by black.
Not if you know what rock and roll is for real.
Yeah, but the majority of people don't even look at it like that.
Right, the majority of people don't matter though. If they're not A, contributing funds by buying shit, or B, contributing to making and like living in it. So if you make it and live in it, then you know where rock and roll started. If you're buying it, at least, even if you're coming from a place of ignorance, at least you're contributing some funds to keep that kind of like cycle going. Even if you're just, I love rock and roll because it's the white person's thing or whatever.
If more Southern music gets purchased, therefore there's more Southern consumers, and they like I said, in 40 years they look back, they're like, oh yeah, there was a Jamaican kind of dude in the South playing bass music the same way Kool Herc was.
Yo, you know what? I always say it's not a crime to be wrong and ignorant. You could walk around being wrong all the time. Like, my friend always used to want to like argue people that he heard like away from. He just like hear things and want to get into like conversations with people about how they're wrong. And I'm like, well, how does it bother you that they're just sitting over there being wrong? If you know they're wrong, let them be wrong. So if somebody says some dumb shit like that, you could tell them like what the truth is if you feel like it, which I do sometimes. But if they want to become all like, nah, you know, that's a white person's thing for, say, rock and roll. Like, say somebody's out there talking about how amazing Elvis was and amazing the Beatles are and the Beach Boys and whatever, you know what I mean? And they just say something ignorant like black people couldn't have did that, some shit. And then you're just like, well, and you hit them with that and they say something stupid back. You're like, all right, I'm like, all right, man. But initially I probably wouldn't even say anything because it doesn't like,
it's crazy.
I can walk past people at work like they don't exist. You know what I mean? Like, if you say something crazy rude to me that if we were out in public, I'd get in your face about, just because you say it here in this area and the way you kind of like, if you have something to say to me about work, boom, you kind of like, there you are. Otherwise, I'm like, boom. I'm like a little horse with those things. And I can do it almost across the board in my life. And
it's crazy that you're saying that because that's the spirit of Uncle Luke.
Yeah.
Like his adversity, everybody just thought, oh, he's just a profanity guy.
Yeah.
He just wants to talk about sex. Nah, this guy was progressively changing the way
world.
we take music by adding the parental advisory.
Music, yeah.
He's like, oh, you don't want to buy my records because I'm not on the radio? Well, I'll get on music video jukebox and they'll promote my song and I'll still go off.
Yeah.
I had no radio play, but I still sold 500,000 records. Like he had no record label,
Florida,
so he pressed up his own records.
The more we do this shit, the more I'm like, you know, people say Florida man and like Florida's crazy. It's like Florida got some dope shit, man. Like,
and nobody
they had
even
in
like
history. Like Florida's got some, and they continue to surprise me.
Me too.
You continue to surprise me
but
because you hit me with the call. I come through, and then I'm always like, "What?" Like the shit about the T-Pain shit last week about how it was used to see the depths of like
oil. Yeah,
for oil. It's like, what the fuck? That's crazy as shit. And now the motherfucker makes millions of dollars singing it. Same thing with this thing. It's like, I know I'm about to hear some shit that's gonna blow my mind.
That's how, bro. That when I was doing the research, that's exactly how I felt. I'm like, I can't believe all the shit this guy did. I thought he was just making bitches eat each other out on stage. No, he was revolutionary in the way he moved in the game and just created his own lane. And he made bitches eat their pussies.
Nah,
Kimberly, what do you think about bitches eating pussy?
Face down, ass up. That's the way we like to fuck. Well, goddamn, this must be another Miami story. Hey, we want some pussy. Must be the Miami national anthem.
Kimberly,
if I
damn.
had an uncle in real life, I would want it to be Uncle Luke. Luther Roderick Campbell, born December 22, 1960, also known as Luke Skywalker, Uncle Luke, and simply Luke, is an American rapper, promoter, record executive, and actor. He is best known for being the former leader of rap group 2 Live Crew, and star of his own short-lived show on VH1, Luke's Parental Advisory. As a result of one of the group's songs, which used a parody of Roy Orbison's Oh, Pretty Woman, Campbell was party to Campbell v. Acuff-Rose Music, Inc., which was argued in front of the U.S. Supreme Court. As a result, the Miami New Times described Campbell as the man whose booty-shaking madness once made the U.S. Supreme Court stand up for free speech. While working as a cook at MT Sinai Hospital in Miami Beach, Campbell was a concert promoter in Miami, bringing all the hot rap groups of the early 1980s to the city. In 1983, he enrolled in an 8-week study course at public radio station WDNA, learning basic audio editing and production techniques. In 1984, he took notice of a single coming from California named Revelation by 2 Live Crew, which consisted of 2 rappers, Fresh Kid Ice and Amazing V, and a DJ, Mr. Mix. The single was a smash hit on the South Florida club circuit, so he brought them from California to Miami for a performance. He took a special interest in the group and began managing them. The group eventually fully relocated in Florida without Amazing V, and in 1986, 2 Live Crew recorded Throw the D with Ghetto Bass on the B-side.
Throw the
went
D.
into a joint venture with Campbell to start Luke Skywalker Records, which was also his first MC name. Shortly after he joined 2 Live Crew. In April of that year, brother Marquis joined the group in Miami. Campbell gave the 2 Live Crew a record deal and officially joined the group. They exploded on the local scene with their gold-selling debut album, The 2 Live Crew Is What We Are, 1986. This made Luke Skywalker and his bandmates rap superstars in that area. In 1988, the group released their second album, Move Somethin'. It was certified gold and featured the singles Move Somethin' and Do Wah Diddy Diddy. The album improved on the charts from the previous album, making into number 68 on the Billboard 200 and number 20 on the top R&B/hip hop albums chart. Campbell decided to sell a separate clean version in addition to the explicit version of the album, Move Somethin', 1988, produced by Mr. Mix. A record store clerk in Alexander City, Alabama, was cited for selling a copy to an undercover police officer in 1988. It was the first time in the United States that a record store owner was held liable for obscenity over music. The charges were dropped after a jury found the record store not guilty. Their following album Move Somethin', 1988, also went gold. Their third album As Nasty As They Wanna Be, 1989, became the group's largest seller, being certified double platinum by the Recording Industry Association of America. In 1990, the United States District Court for the Southern District of Florida ruled that the album was legally obscene. This ruling was later overturned by the 11th Circuit. It is the first album in history to be deemed legally obscene. An obscenity trial followed, in which Henry Louis Gates, Jr., addressed the court on behalf of the defendants, all of whom were eventually acquitted. Campbell was also infamous in the late 1980s, early 1990s for his association with the University of Miami Hurricanes football team. Campbell was alleged to have been behind what was referred to as a pay-for-play system, which involved cash rewards for acts such as scoring touchdowns and big hits, although Campbell has never actually donated to the University of Miami or its athletics department. In 1993, he also...
Is that pay-for-play? Or is that being rewarded for doing well?
Yeah, because he was such a big fan, he would just hit off the players, and he really changed Miami's football game.
Like, how is that pay for play exactly?
Because he's kind of he's incentivizing the kids
to play well,
to play better, and he's not supposed to pay them. It's an ethical thing. You're right.
No, but like I hear the ethical part of like diving, like purposely altering the game so that I can figure out how to make money. But like, you touchdown, I give you $1,000. You score a touchdown.
Right. It's hypocritical because that's what's going on in the NFL.
You want to. They're getting paid, yeah.
But you're not supposed to do that at that level because they want to build.
Because it's illegal. No.
They want to build a certain a certain vibe when it comes to playing the game. You should be good and not get rewarded monetarily.
Bullshit. They not. I mean,
it definitely will inspire a kid because he's not paying these little rich kids. He's paying a poor kid that's coming from a poor environment and incentivizing them because he could go sell crack or do something else.
I know it's awesome. Shit, I lost it. No, they gave the NCAA. They gave them the right to make money, to profit off their names. So like EA Sports or some shit like that makes NCAA.
Right.
Anyway, go ahead. Sorry. It's like, how is that?
To go public with various violations by University of Miami's athletic department, specifically their football program, if Ryan Collins, a black player, wasn't named their starting quarterback for that season. 1990 saw the release of Band in the USA. 1990. Originally credited as Luke's solo album featuring 2 Live Crew and in later editions credited as a 2 Live Crew album. The album included the hits Do the Bart and the title track. It was also the very first release to bear the RIAA standard Parental Advisory warning sticker. It peaked at number 20 on the Hot 100. The eponymous title single is a reference to the decision in a court case that its album As Nasty As They Wanna Be was obscene. The decision would later be overturned on appeal. Bruce Springsteen granted the group permission to interpolate his song Born in the USA for it.
Nice.
Displeased over the decision of Florida Governor Bob Martinez, who, on being asked to examine the album, decided it was obscene and recommended local law enforcement take action against it, and over the subsequent action of Broward County, Florida, Sheriff Nick Navarro, who arrested local record store owners on obscenity charges for selling the group's albums, and the subsequent arrest of members of the group on obscenity charges. The group included the song Fuck Martinez, which also includes multiple repetitions of the phrase Fuck Navarro. The group found 2 other men with the same names, and had them sign releases, as they thought that this action would make it impossible for Martinez or Navarro to sue them. That same year they released Live in Concert is the first and only live album by American rap group.
Well, they found some random person named Martinez. No, I'm not talking about the judge. I mean, it's coincidental.
Group 2 Live Crew and their 5th record overall. It was released under the Effect subsidiary label of Luke Records, a move that was deemed necessary for the company to be able to release additional 2 Live Crew material outside of their distribution deal with Atlantic Records. The album peaked at number 46 on the top R&B/hip hop albums. Sports Weekend, As Nasty As They Wanna Be, PT2, 1991. Is the 6th album overall and 5th studio album by the 2 Live Crew, released in 1991, and the sequel of As Nasty As They Wanna Be. A clean version was released later that same year titled Sports Weekend, As Clean as They Wanna Be Part 2, and was the sequel of As Clean as They Wanna Be. This would be the last studio album by all original members of the Two Live Crew. From that point on, all the release by Two Live Crew would always vary, having one or two member of the original lineup missing by the exception of Fresh Kid Ice. The Two Live Crew was an American hip-hop group from Miami, United States, which had its greatest commercial success in the late 1980s to the early 1990s. Fronted by Luke Campbell, they were considerably controversial in the US due to the pornographic content in their songs, particularly on their 1989 album As Nasty as They Wanna Be. They're also infamous for the court cases fighting for and protecting the First Amendment and becoming the reason why music has parental warning labels.
We wouldn't get none of these crazy albums. Any of the 1990 hip hop albums that you liked that was talking about fuck this or whatever would not exist.
Right.
You would never get your Biggies, your Tupacs, your T.I.s, your Gucci Manes, none of these people, because there would have been
just
a
not
precedent.
As raw. Just not as raw.
Well, the things that happened is that because he won the case, that set a precedent. Because if he would have lost the case, then every rapper after that would have had to go to court and figure out. Thank God for America, bro. This is where America shines, on things like this. You know what I mean? Because when all of these conservative so-called whatevers, right, well, politicians, judges, whatever, they want to take this out, governments, the real law of the government is going to be supreme, right? The Supreme Court is going to be like, nah. This is what the people want.
Right.
Let the people have what the people want. And you got to credit Luke. He used to have a clean album and a dirty album. That's why he invented the Parental Advisory sticker. Mm-hmm. He said he got it. He was inspired by the movies that were rated R, PG-13 or whatever. Mm-hmm. And he used to make a clean album. And then the one with the sticker was the dirty album. And he would call all the distributors and all the record stores and say, listen, do not sell the Parental Advisory album to anybody younger than 21, or maybe it was 18.
It was 18, yeah.
And so he knew who he would even say that. Let's say a promoter would hit him up about a show and say, hey, come on, do a show. He would ask, well, is it going to be like a teen audience, or is it going to be an adult audience? Because we will cater our performance to that specific audience. You know what I mean? So
he's playing ball.
Yeah, man.
But they hated him for his content. Because, like you said,
him. Fuck Martinez.
He was having public displays of extreme affection in public. People hated that shit, man.
Remember Donahue?
I do remember Donahue.
Well, guess who this is? This is a multi-millionaire, and he's going to jail.
The group Two Live Crew has wrapped itself in one of the biggest controversies since Elvis first started swaying his hit. The album Nasty as They Wanna Be is just too nasty for many communities.
If anyone sells it and it is obscene, they'll go to jail. Simple as that.
Fort Lauderdale authorities arrested store owner Charles Freeman, and all copies of the record were
arrested him for that haircut.
I got 2 albums over there, 3 albums over there. That's obscene because they're just as dirty and nasty as Two Live Crew.
But I got a sweet cherry curl.
This was a challenge to the law, and we don't accept challenges.
That's why he's mad.
This is a country of laws.
Who would ever think that here in the United States of America, we will be telling grown people what they can purchase and what they can't purchase?
Two Live Crew's Luke Campbell and Fresh Kid Ice were arrested early Sunday morning following a Saturday evening concert at the Futura Club in Hollywood, Florida, during which they performed the X-rated lyrics that had brought them under fire across the state.
They sang the songs during that show.
I have an appetite for sex.
And the detectives felt that was enough grounds to arrest them for the charge.
Everybody that goes to the hotel and get pussy, I want y'all to put your hands up in there like this here. The fuck shot!
We can't play too much of that music because then we're going to get copyright. But it's crazy. It wasn't even Miami-Dade County. It was Broward County, which is a little north, a little more conservative.
You in the same boat, bro. The same kind of like...
Do you think you're nastier than the average rap act?
Well, we do sexual,
weird kind of like
we
sex
do
stuff
explicit
a lot.
lyrics. I mean, our lyrics are explicit. We talk about sex, and we're easy target.
1, 2, 3, get loose now. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
I think this.
How can you say that's not hip hop? That's their DJ, like really cutting it up. You know what I mean? And that was during their show.
It's because it's about poussoir. We don't like talking about
And the
poussoir.
2 Live Crew thing is probably the
That
bottom
guy?
of the barrel.
That guy does not have sex. Okay? Don't talk about sex around him.
2 pumps in
Don't
his
make
game.
no music around him. That guy does not have sex. So that's what he's mad
So
about.
the word pussy makes him uncomfortable.
Why would you say that in public?
We
Guy
have
gets
a
no ass.
community trying to dictate its moral
Now he's just a
standard
hypocrite.
upon
Because you
the
know he's
pop-
fucking.
You know he's
Look at that beard.
masturbated.
Look at that beard.
population.
Damn horse behind him.
2 Live Crew does not, by law, have the right to
No
say
disrespect
what
to this
they're
lady.
saying.
I only like talk that crazy sex shit about guys. not girls.
Obscenity is a highly personal and subjective matter.
Wow, he just said it.
If it's obscene, it's obscene, and that means it shouldn't be sold to anyone. In the record, as nasty as they want to be, there was 226 uses of the F word.
117 explicit
counts
terms
this
for the
shit?
male and
Did
female
you rewind that? Can you rewind that real quick?
To the white
That
guy?
part, yeah. No, that's
And
not.
that means it shouldn't
When
be
he's holding the
sold
paper out.
to anyone.
Just let it play for a second.
In the record, as nasty as they want to be, there was 226 uses of
Everything's in some other language, but he didn't even say fuck. He said the F word. But the subtitle was like,
yeah, I got this from a Chinese
Fuck.
channel.
the F word.
117 explicit terms for the male and female genitalia.
87 descriptions of oral sex.
163 uses
it's
of the
an
word
album.
bitch,
15 uses of hoe.
which is the slang word for whore.
only 15?
Which is the slang word for... Did you know that hoe is the slang word for whore?
But only 15?
You think it would have been better if they would have used the word whore?
I don't know.
It doesn't rhyme.
I don't know.
Oh!
I don't know. She really went to...
which is the slang word for whore.
81 uses of the vulgarity S-T.
4 descriptions
Dash,
of group
dash. He wouldn't even
sex,
say
One reference to
H-I.
incest.
and over a dozen illustrations of violent sex.
They say that it's not just sex, it's violent sex.
Look at his
You're
face.
encouraging
He's like,
crime
come on,
against women.
bro.
How do you reply to that?
No, that's all garbage. All garbage. We don't talk about no violent sex. I mean, you have a lot of these heavy metal groups. They talk about violent sex. I mean, kill the corpse and have sex with her and screw the nuns with the crosses.
If I would read the lyrics for this nasty as you want to be on the telephone to you, you'd hang up on me. You couldn't produce it on your television program.
Only way you find out is on home video. $49.95. Before we get this motherfucking thing started, I want y'all to know one goddamn thing. Is that for the motherfuckers standing on the outside of this motherfucking club?
Two-Live Crew! 2MC!
Talking about banning the Two-Live Crew?
2MC!
You know what they can do for us? They can suck our motherfucking dick. When you first hear somebody say, yo, suck my dick.
Suck our dick!
When the tape comes on, some guy say, hey, we want some pussy. You automatically say, God damn, they say that. And then when you get farther to the next song, then you start saying, oh, I remember doing something like that.
Oh, you went in
They're
the
actually
comments.
singing
That's
it on
smart.
the fucking record. Y'all repeat after him, okay?
I think they're obscene into disgrace. Y'all gonna bring the wrath of God upon y'all if y'all don't stop.
Why'd you choose sex?
Yeah,
as
let
your
it happen.
subject?
Why you worried
Why
about
do you
it?
have so many songs about sex? What is
Why?
it? What is it there?
America chooses sex. Sex, violence. So we choose sex because that's what everybody's talking about. Everybody's doing.
I'm gonna lock my daughter in the basement.
with the 1.3 million sales, there's a lot of people, have been involved in some of the sexes that we talk about in our music. And if they haven't, then they can learn something. They go buy the album.
These women's lives are being shredded. Children's lives are being destroyed.
They're a little dirty, but they're not that dirty.
If we arrest Luther, how come we're not arresting Madonna? And what is the difference? And how wavy is this?
Madonna was on stage masturbating, bro. She was on stage masturbating.
Yo.
Talking about like a virgin.
Miley Cyrus. I know that's later. I guess we're not talking about Miley Cyrus. But I love the way he would kind of like do that. The way he kind of like played this part. Like a lot of shit I disagree with, whatever, but like, I love the way he kind of presented shit.
Yeah.
That's why he was good for that. He never got like that status. He was never really like respected like that, I don't think, to me personally. But
who, Donahue?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was a Jerry Springer.
Kind of. He's not even like quite Jerry Springer, because Jerry Springer is even more successful and respected, and he's pushing all kinds of garbage down your face.
That's probably why, though.
Yeah. But anyway, I did appreciate the way he would do stuff like that.
Yo, suck my dick. And people, oh, I don't believe he said that, right?
Let this man Rich Brown talk about everybody mama. Yeah, they talk about everybody mama, dogs and all. They didn't knock them.
They know what Eddie and Dice and all these people are gonna say, right? So we just put what they say in the form of a rap. It's all shock value.
I was gonna ask if you perceive the Nasty Show as a comedy act. Or is it?
Hey, that's yeah, we do perceive that as being a comedy act.
Do you really?
Yeah. Our music is fun, entertainment, come in and do some chants, dance and just have some fun. Every year, if you notice it with rap, every year is a different thing. I mean, last year it was Public Enemy, and the year before that they would say if you go to a rap concert, your kid might get killed, and now this year it's 2 Live Crew, next year it'll be somebody else.
True. It has been. It goes to the point. Like, hip hop's everywhere. It's influential. There's always some version of it in the news and the media.
But these are the fathers. These are the guys that made the first fights for the other people that kind of.
Yeah, they took the bullets.
Well, not like Biggie and Tupac, but yeah.
Do we have a right to speak? Do we?
We don't want this kind of garbage in our town.
Once you stop letting us saying, hey, you can't do this, you cannot do that, therefore we're going to be Russia.
We're opposed not against the group, we're opposed against the lyrics, the obscenity.
In America should be freedom of speech. But then at the same time, they say, watch what you say.
I heard the album and I went inside and I cried.
I like they rapping about what's reality, life, facts, and self.
What makes you cry about it?
The fact that they say that.
About what? Women?
About women.
My pussy.
And just the fact that they say it.
I don't really see anything wrong with it. If you don't want to listen to it, you don't have to.
Yeah. I think a woman has rights, for respect. Not for another man to look up on and to really get after, And this is what they're doing. They're exposing women.
It's the principle of the thing. You can speak the amendment right. The First Amendment right protects them tonight.
A woman is not dog meat. If you listen to the lyrics, it's telling a woman she's nothing.
Our society is plagued
and sick
by sexual immorality, incest, teenage pregnancy, sexual assault, rape, and we wonder what's causing this.
We have drug problems tearing the whole world apart, family life. But why they ain't concerned with this? We got all of these police sitting around here waiting for something to happen. Why they can't go out there when they see what's happening every day, not a one-time event?
Sex is something to be enjoyed in a good Christian marriage. That's what we have.
You should go to jail?
Yes, sure do.
She doesn't seem to be happy with
her
sex.
She doesn't agree. Apparently. All right, to your face.
You are going to arrest 2 Live Crew. You should
He dry humps me like a dog on Sundays.
arrest Cher and all the other ones who are doing things that are improper and
God. That's some dad's nightmare right there. Some like.
Kind of rap?
Beat those headphones though. Those are like toasters.
Christian.
Is there Christian rap?
Yes, it is. The parents are always saying,
They don't need their kids to listen to it.
Don't buy.
What don't buy?
Don't buy.
That's the bottom line. Not the top, not the middle, but the bottom line.
My God. Not the top, not the middle, but the bottom line.
Everybody is having basically the same sex. Guys get it from the back, they get it from the front. Girls give head, the guys put their face down there, and that's the same shit that's going on. We talk about it, boom, hit you. You know, we don't cut no corners, put it that way. We just go straight to the shit. Yeah, we don't start talking about hold your dress up and let me lick you all over.
All that foreplay crap, you're not into it.
No. We want to tell it like it is.
Okay.
This is our national anthem. Okay, can we have a moment of silence for our national anthem? Somebody say, hey! We want some pussy!
So, you know, you think that it was always like 100% on the up and up?
What do you mean?
Well, some of what can it both be true?
That it's bad.
That maybe some bad stuff came from it.
Yeah, absolutely. Freaknik. You remember what they used to do to the girls at Freaknik?
Mm-hmm.
Like the inhibitions of allowing yourself to just act on your inhibitions.
Mm-hmm.
I think was promoted by things like this, so that you could, like our president Donald Trump say, grab her by the pussy. You know what I mean? Because if it's so fun, and you know, I think another argument is those people already exist, so they're looking for an excuse. But yeah, like I said, but in the same way that Hugh Hef exposed our culture to sex and made it more liberal, I don't know. There's maybe going to be some shitty shit happening before the good shit comes. You know what I mean? Because we have to process it.
Right.
But sex, like you were saying, it is very Puritan-ass taboo compared to, like, if you look at culture like France.
Right.
I mean, you just go topless. Like, it's just natural. You know what I mean? But you pull the titties out here.
Whoa.
And
don't pull the penis out.
Luke used to pull his penis out all the time and get head on stage. Imagine the confidence that takes to just be like, let me just get my dick sucked right here.
In front of how many people?
He did it at the Apollo.
How many is that?
A lot. The Apollo, like, you're going to get booed off stage if you do some weird shit. And he just was like, nah, I'm getting my dick sucked here, right now.
Danny Brown caught all kinds of flack for that.
Well, the girl pulled his dick out, and he was just down because she pulled it out. He pulled his dick out. It wasn't a mistake. It wasn't like, oh, this is happening. All right, I'm going to go with the flow. No, he engaged it.
Right.
And he also says in some of the other interviews, he also says that, you know, he was the instigator. He enjoyed being the instigator. You know, he said the first year he fucked mad bitches, but after that, he was just doing it as entertainment. He's like, to be honest with you, I really kind of wanted a girlfriend, but everybody thought I was dirty. And I had got so much pussy, I was kind of through with pussy. But it was my job now. So, and that's crazy. That's like the drug dealers get mad money or get mad drugs and power once you have so much of it.
Yeah, but like you're still that person. So you got to get somebody who's going to be equally that person. And then what are there?
So he has to get with a super slut in order to wife her? Is that what you're saying?
No, like that type of person. You can be a slut, I guess, a super slut, like he was at times in his life, I guess. But I'm just saying somebody is just that type of person that doesn't see what's anything wrong with that. You know what I mean? So he's saying that he wanted a girlfriend, but everybody thought he was nasty. Then, you know, you got to find somebody that doesn't think you're nasty. But if everybody thinks you're nasty, doesn't want to get with you, then that may tell you something, you know?
Well, he also said that it was a blessing in disguise because the one woman that would accept him unconditionally for who he was going to be his wife.
Right.
And now he's been with her for like 7 years.
Yeah.
It took him like 40 years to get there. What a life, though.
Oh, yeah. A great life of mindless kind of like, he probably had like 10-somes, 20-somes. It's like harems of women.
There was this thing they used to do on certain weekends called the sacrifice weekends.
Oh my God, that sounds bad.
Crazy, right?
That sounds bad.
So he had a boat that he used to take, a 50-foot yacht that he used to take these girls out, and it was Sacrifice Saturday or Sacrifice Sunday, and they used to pee on bitches, ran trades, like all types of just craziness.
Why do you gotta pee on them?
Because it's like, once you've had all types of sex, once you've like, all right, you start with the vagina sex, then y'all do like wild shit with the vagina, fucking from the back, fucking from the front, she's doing backflips, whatever. Then you expose the butthole, then you start driving the butthole, and you might even do that the first night.
Do that?
Yeah.
Do that?
But after a while, you got head, you got vagina, you got all this shit, you had 3-somes, 4-somes. You're going to want to step it up. It's just like, it's like a drug. It's like
doing
a drug.
That.
No, bro. Once you've had too much of that, you're going to be like, yo, I wonder if this bitch will let me pee on her.
But why would you want to pee on them is my thing.
It's because it's the same reason why, even have you ever heard of a trisexual?
What, the try anything?
No, they get off on just trying anything. Because their level of sex is so deep. They've done so much shit.
I can't even like have a drink with you after that though. Like, we can't be friends anymore. If I'm pissing on you, that's the last time I saw you. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm sure that's what happened with these girls.
Not even, I don't want to bump you in public. So
why? Because you're just going to constantly think about pissing on her?
Bro.
What if she's into that?
I don't give a fuck. I knew a girl in high school.
You never peed on your girl in the shower where you guys take a shower together? Just real quick, like here.
Fuck no.
Here on your leg.
Motherfuck no.
Here, honey.
That's disgusting, bro. And again,
same thing as farted on you.
For me, it's disgusting. I'm just simply saying I don't understand how that could be a positive thing ever. I get people love it and the other shit too. Like they get shit on or whatever. I get there's like a whatever. So cool.
Fetishes.
I just don't understand it. Like I can't like the smell and then just not even just that part. That part's disgusting. I don't even really feel like talking about. But like later on, like how do you look somebody in the face after you piss on that face?
Remember that white couple that were like, we have good Christian sex?
That's what they're doing in the basement.
No, that's how they're looking at people like us that are cool with people like this.
Nah, motherfuckers like that are that adamant that walk up to the motherfucking front of the congregation to complain about it are the motherfuckers doing the shit. And they feel the worst about it.
If you accept Uncle Luke, you gotta accept him for everything. And he peed on girls.
I can't accept him for peeing on. I can't accept that. Why would I have to accept that?
Because it's the whole person. This is part of their journey.
I have nothing. That's not my friend. You know what I mean? Those aren't like.
But this culture,
I respect what he did. I respect what he did for sure for the culture and all that. That
part
doesn't
of that
mean
was
I have
peeing on bitches.
No, he peed on bitches.
But that's part of it.
Girl, women.
Because he was fighting the good fight.
He did a good thing
of speech, and part of that
he did a great thing.
Was breaking down everything and not giving a fuck. I'm gonna get my dick sucked on stage. I'm gonna piss on bitches. I'm gonna do everything. I'm gonna take it to the extreme.
He did
for the culture. He calls himself the Martin Luther King of this shit.
He did all that, right?
That was his dream, to pee on bitches. I want an America where we can pee on bitches. I want an America where you can eat vagina on stage and get your dick sucked.
Right.
This is the same America.
All that's true. All of that is true. All I'm saying is I don't have to be down with all of that. You know what I mean? No, not at all. So I don't have to accept that, you know? I accept that he did it, fine. But you can't convince me that that's not disgusting. At the end of the day, if you shit on somebody, stop it.
It's a style.
It is very much a disgusting ass, like terrible ass style. Because that's weird as fuck. Why would you pee on them?
Why would you come on a bitch? What's the difference between coming on a bitch and peeing on a bitch?
Consistency.
It's coming out of your dick hole.
Consistency and a amount of mess there is to clean up, and the speed at which you got to clean it up.
Liquid probably easier to clean up.
Cum is not waste.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not. It's life-giving. It's the essence of all that is us. What are you talking about?
Bro, if you're stranded on a ship and you drink your piss, you'll survive.
cum is protein in it. And again, it's the essence of all life. It's life. It's the most important thing we carry
piss
around.
on a plant, it grows.
No, it don't. You kill plants when you piss on it.
Nah.
Yeah.
Dogs piss on shit.
And kill fucking plants. Like when you piss on the plant in the corner, you kill the plant. Your piss is ammonia and shit in it. You don't. What are you talking about? Piss is waste. Cum is not waste. There's a vast difference between cum and piss.
You don't.
I'll play this Donahue clip because it's hilarious.
Luther has 2 albums out.
That's right.
He has 2 albums.
That's right.
This is a free country, and we have the right to listen to whatever. And
I don't think I was.
The parent has the right.
We appreciate very much the enthusiasm. Please,
Phil, let me point out.
Hang on, Wendy.
Phil, I don't
let
think
Luther make this point. You don't let your 7-year-old listen to your own work, right?
It's my job as a parent
to make sure your baby is exposed to whatever you want him to listen
the
to and
clean
see and
version.
hear. Okay.
That's why I do 2 versions.
Mr. Thompson has a right to make his point.
Okay,
Sir, go ahead.
But the thing is Mr. Thompson is misleading these people.
All right, you'll have a chance
Mr.
to
Thompson
straighten.
don't even have an office.
All
I
right.
mean, he's a crazy man. No. Miami House stated that Mr. Thompson is about to get disbarred because he's a crazy man. He's barred from radio stations in Dade County. Say Neil Rogers. Say Neil Rogers. I bet he can't say it.
Let him make a point.
Let him say Neil Rogers.
All right.
Say Neil Rogers.
You wanted to make your point.
Yeah, so that you don't get sued. Let me point out that the Florida bar said to me that I'm so concerned about obscenity and so concerned about the sexual abuse of women that I must be crazy. So we sat down and we agreed to have a psychologist and a psychiatrist examine me. And you know what they said my problem was, Luther?
What was it?
They said absolutely nothing. The only problem with Jack Thompson is he's a Christian concerned about women and children.
Okay. While we're at it here.
And let me point out, Phil, these people don't believe
Why
in the
you single us out? Hold on, Jack. Why do you single us out? Why haven't you talk about these groups right here?
These people don't believe because
why haven't you talked
I'll
about
tell you one.
the X-rated video?
I'll tell you one reason.
Why haven't you talked about the X-rated video?
I've been very concerned about what Joe Biafra
No, I'm talking about Jack. I'm talking about Jack.
Luther, please let him make the point. Let him make the point.
For 10 years, I have been educating parents in this country about what we're doing to kids. Some of it's great. Some of it's wonderful. Joe Biafra's penis landscape poster was so explicit, Playboy, when they reprinted it, blacked out the explicit parts.
Yeah.
But a jury could not find
trial.
the poster illegal.
All right.
Now, this guy advocates suicide in a song called Suicide's Alternative. Sick of life, it sucks, sick and tired.
You'll be sorry.
Let me shut up. Jack, I know you want in.
Just because you don't understand don't make no sense. Just because you don't like it don't mean it ain't no good.
Mike, let
I
the
don't want to
man
even
speak.
hear you.
Mr. Thompson, sir, you get to speak. Go ahead.
To answer Luther's question, one reason I have gone, 2 reasons I've gone after 2 Live Crew.
Donahue should have let them fight on stage, and he would have got more popular. That's
Like,
the whole issue.
Geraldo?
Yeah, just like fight on stage.
And Luther, you're in more trouble than you know. Is because I'm from Miami, the same town as Luther Campbell, and I'm embarrassed that this man, in the New York Times today and last night on NBC News, you portray yourself as a role model from my hometown. And I have an obligation. I have an obligation, Luther.
I'm not a role model at the jockey club. I'm a role model with the kids in the community.
He's saying he doesn't come from the same neighborhood that you do.
Luther,
he doesn't speak for the same people
Luther,
you do.
You need to talk to the black parents who call me and say, like a lady from Sarasota, a mother of a 10-year-old daughter.
Sarasota, that's like 4 hours away.
Phil, are we going to get to talk here or not? And who said, I saw you on the news last night, Jack, and I want to thank you.
When people do this,
black
when
and
people
you're
do
white,
this,
and I thank
when people do this whole thing right here.
Yeah, you don't see anybody. Nah, you're right.
Thank
Fuck
you
that
because we had
hand.
an Easter Day parade 2 weeks ago. Kids 12 years of age in that Easter Day parade called themselves the 2 Live Crew and simulated intercourse in the Easter Day parade. And she's proud of what I'm doing to
Looks like for real they did that.
That's pretty
great.
stop you from peddling obscenity to children of all colors.
Mr. Thompson, not a few people, and your point is on the record, and it's certainly a valid one. numbers of people of color are upset with what's happening, regardless of what happens to be the ethnicity of the artist. Please let me make this point.
Okay, I got to respond.
We have to at least be allowed to wonder whether racism is at work here.
Okay.
And people who are enjoying the kind of music and the lyrics and the idiom that's being used by rap groups want to know about the loftiness of white guys coming over the mountain to presume to save them from this evil force. Where were you when the ghettos were falling down? Where were you when their fathers
Tell them, Donahue.
because they were black?
I got your point. Can I respond?
Certainly.
2 responses. As Luther knows, the first judge who found probable cause in Florida 6 months ago, and there have now been 5 of them, was in Fort Myers. And when that happened, when the media contacted Luther about it, Luther said, quote, "The judge must be racist and Klan," close quote. And the reporter said, "But Luther, the judge is black." Okay? And when I was back in the 60s, I was elected student mayor of my all-white city. And I stood up at the all-white city council meeting that night, and I said, "Folks, we got to desegregate this city because it's illegal to keep blacks out." And that was the first time my life was threatened. So don't tell me I'm a racist. And don't tell a black judge.
Let me ask Mr. Thompson how he feels about this video. Roll the tape.
No.
Mr. Thompson.
Okay, let me put my.
How do you feel about this?
I'd been had, I was sad and blue, but you made me free. Saving it all for you.
That is not a video. That's Madonna in concert, the Blonde Ambition tour. You say this is not a...
That's not the point. What's on trial here is supposedly the First Amendment.
Please forgive us for being curious about how you feel about that.
I think that parents had better find out what Madonna's pumping into the brains of their children.
But is she subject to arrest? I mean, here's the point.
I'm not the one that makes that determination.
Phil, there's not one album that anyone else, in my opinion, in the history of the world has ever done that's
dirtier than Two Live Crew.
That's exactly right.
And we'll be back in just a moment.
You haven't heard much.
You haven't heard much, is what the guy said. That's very true.
He had it hard, man.
Like, read the Bible.
The hip-hop community hated him.
They slept with all types of brothers and sisters in the Bible.
And then children now.
Yes,
priests are doing it hardcore.
Look at that
now.
shit. If you go. But I'm not a real big what about them kind of guy, but there's definitely, when you start bringing them into the conversation, then you got to be pointed out as pretty goddamn wrong. Damn, man, why do people hate on that type of shit so much? Why is it such a taboo? Why don't I want my daughter to become a stripper? Why isn't that a lofty? Why isn't that a lofty goal?
It's because you feel like
you can make millions of dollars.
It's kind of the same thing we were talking about in football, but a little less, right? When he was paying off the kids to do good.
Mm-hmm.
There's a certain thing when you're doing something based on monetary value and it's not wholesome, right? It's looked at as disingenuous. It's looked at as just less of us as people. I think in the ideals of human, and maybe it's because of all this religion that's been drilled into our head, but we aspire to be better.
Religion's probably a huge portion of it.
Yeah, and we aspire to be godlike in a sense, and vibrating on a low frequency of sex and violence and all these things is not holy. It's not what's it called? It's not righteous. So if you're not righteous, then you're ratchet. You know what I mean? But the thing about it is that you need a little, we know, or at least this is our perspective, is that you need a little bit of both,
right,
to really be a full circle.
A full person.
But yeah, it's the same feeling that we got during the porn episode. Like, hey, it's a job, but it's something uncomfortable about it.
Yeah, well, I just feel like that a lot of that just has to do with my upbringing and the way life kind of like has, trained me to think and whatever, and that maybe 100 years from now it just won't be like as big a deal.
This is what they call, like, I'm not super religious, but when people say the devil, when people say bad spirits, demons, this is what they're talking about. This is the metaphor for this stuff. And that's where I think people that are simple-minded, they get caught up in these Illuminati things, and because he's a smart man, he exploited a group of people in the world that were interested in this type of stuff because we get something about the taboo of sex that intrigues us. And he was a great salesman at him. I mean, look at all the gold plaques in his office. Like I said, fuck Diddy, shout out to Diddy, but
what is
forget Master P, forget all these people. If it wasn't for Uncle Luke.
What is this?
I don't know. What the hell is that?
Is it clouds?
It's like a question mark popping out of a cloud.
What the fuck is that, bro? Is that like a hook? I don't know what the fuck that is. Those shoes?
It's like coming out of something.
I have no idea what's happening in that logo.
Record. It's just like we're going to have to ask.
We have to research that shit. Now, what the fuck is...
I just noticed that too.
America and the courts. C-SPAN takes a look at the U.S. Supreme Court case Campbell versus Acuff-Rose Music Incorporated. This case involves the rap group 2 Live Crew and their music company, Luke Records, which recorded and...
Talk about... Look at this. Like, this guy did everything. Like,
yeah, man.
Next,
fuck just getting signed to a record label. I'm going to produce and manufacture my own shit.
America and the courts. C-SPAN takes a look at the U.S. Supreme Court case Campbell versus Acuff-Rose Music Incorporated. This case involves the rap group 2 Live Crew and their music company, Luke Records, which recorded and sold a parody of the song Oh Pretty Woman, co-written by Roy Orbison and William Dees. Acuff-Rose, which owns the rights to Oh Pretty Woman, sued 2 Live Crew and Luke Records in U.S. District Court for violating their copyright. The court ruled in favor of 2 Live Crew, but the decision was reversed by the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Sixth Circuit. Luther Campbell and other members of 2 Live Crew appealed to the U.S. Supreme Court. The case will be heard by the High Court on Tuesday, November 9th. C-SPAN traveled to South Florida to interview Luther Campbell and Fresh Kid Ice, members of 2 Live Crew. In looking at this case, C-SPAN also brings you interviews with William Dees, co-author of Oh Pretty Woman, and others interested in the case's outcome.
This is a $100 million corporation in Miami. Like I said, before Russell, not before Russell Simmons, but before Jay-Z and Rockefeller, for all these guys that we look up to, it was Uncle Luke doing it. Look at that. This is the 80s.
But first, we bring you an interview with Luther Campbell of 2 Live Crew from his Luke Records office in Liberty City, Florida.
So these are legs coming out of the clouds because Skywalker Records.
Oh.
Luke Skywalker Records.
You are intelligent.
Well, not
bro.
intelligent.
You figured
It's
this
Google.
shit out.
It's Google.
You're figuring
It's Google.
this shit out.
Google figured it out, but it's cool. I looked it up really well. And in the
Mr.
workplace,
Campbell,
I'd have took
president
credit
of
for
Luke Records
that.
and member
I'd be
of
like, yeah, I know.
the group 2 Live Crew. How did it come about that you're a party to a case before the Supreme Court?
I really don't know. It's the weirdest thing ever, ever happened to rap music, I think.
I don't really know.
This
is crazy.
It's just, I guess, the backlash of all the big problems that we had when we had the Nasty As They Want to Be, album out. Everybody started buying it, started getting into homes where people wouldn't normally buy rap music, and
white people.
A lot of those right-wing organizations start picking the album apart. And what happened is they heard Pretty Woman on there and called up Acuff-Rose and Incorporated, and then they started to suing. They didn't probably feel that, this rap group that at the time was creating all this controversy should be singing one of their records. So I think that's basically, where it all started at.
Why'd you decide to parody that song?
He decided that. Yeah, well, we just, the song was a popular song, right? And I think at the time, Weird Al Yankovic was at his peak, doing all the Michael Jackson Beat It records and all that, and it was just something that we wanted to do. I mean, it was, yeah, we just wanted to have fun with the record, and before you know it.
Which the law allows you to parody songs and put them out. That's how Weird Al Yankovic's whole career was built off that. This looks a little racist too, you know what I mean? Let's go after Two Live Crew because they're doing Pretty Woman remake. It's not a parody, right?
You know, we did it. You know, we didn't have.
Was
we
it like
didn't
rap?
do
It was
to
the
have any
album.
intention.
It was a single on the album.
And they were just singing pretty. They didn't even really sample it. They were just singing it.
Maybe that's why. Because it was wrapped in a project that wasn't a parody.
Maybe.
Just ruining their copyright.
I mean, that's the
reason
argument.
why
Obviously,
you don't
it's
see it on the
because they're
as nasty as
black and
they
talking
want
about
to be
pussy.
album. It's only on as clean as they want to be album, and that's like the most important thing that's in this case, because you know they're saying that we tried to ruin their copyright, and we're saying, you know, just because we're Two Live Crew, and we do adult virgin records and clean records, we had no intentions of doing that.
Can you play a little bit of both the original version and then also your version?
Let's do Roy first. Let's do Roy first. You want to hear Roy first? Let's do Roy. Don't wake up, Roy. I guess that is. I guess that's not the right one. Where is it? Pretty Woman. Whoever queued this up didn't do a great job.
Why don't we play your version?
I got Roy coming up.
Oh, there we go.
That's loud enough for you? Need a little bass? You don't need no bass? Conservative, you know, upper class version.
I gotta fast forward that because I don't want to copyright strike.
Play the hood version. Liberty City version. See, that's the difference. That's the big deal there. You know, this is people in the streets can relate to this, so that you gotta keep an open mind when you listen. Here we go. Him. You know I bet it's tough. Big hairy woman. All that ain't legit. 'Cause you look like cousin Big hairy woman.
Is this the first song you parodied, or have you done others?
Which? We did Do What Did He? We did Band in the USA, Born in the USA, Band in the USA.
And
we had no problems from nobody else.
Do you think there's something unique about the rap genre that is the reason?
Well, like I say, you know, at the time when we were on trial and the whole world thought we were going to lose in the First Amendment case, everybody started coming out of the woodworks. I mean, you know, Acuff-Rose came out and Lucasfilms came out. You know, we were getting sued from every which way is possible. So, you know, we went and we dealt with all the cases, and when we did win the case,
Skywalker.
That says Luke in the nude.
the First Amendment case, this was like the last thing that was left on the table, and everybody else backed up, you know, because they, you know, felt like we had great lawyers that they didn't want to fight anymore.
If you lose this case, what effect is that going to have, both on you as for Two Live Crew, but also for the other artists that you're involved with?
As far as the company, I don't think it'll have any effect on, you know, the company. As far as Two Live Crew, I don't think it'll have any effect on us, because we, you know, if it's that we don't have to do parodies. I mean, you know, like the parodies that we did was not like the biggest records. None of them, you know, probably Band in the USA was the only one that was released as a single. You know, this was never released as, was it released as? No. You know, these are like records that we do to keep the groove going on in the album. I mean, you know, it wouldn't hurt us. I mean, because we're known for records like Me So Horny and Throw the D and Hey, We Want Some. That's what we're known for. We're not suing the horse. Yeah, we're not known for parodies. It's just something that we do to fill up the albums.
Since this case has come up, have you heard from others who do parodies a lot?
Yeah, I mean, the briefs. If you know the briefs that's been filed, I mean, Living Color, Saturday Night Live, all these different organizations have filed briefs on our behalf. I mean, it would be like, it would be the saddest thing ever happened, because if we were to lose this case, I mean, nobody can imitate the president anymore. Weird Al Acuff-Rose, he couldn't do what he does anymore. I mean, Saturday Night Live will be off the air, no more.
Damn.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to do it. All the joke shows that go on will be eliminated because everybody's just be getting sued out of the woodwork.
Oh, man.
When this first started, did you ever dream that it would go before the Supreme Court, and how's it feel?
You ever thought it was gonna happen?
There's been no other rappers to take it to the Supreme Court.
Bro, like, if they had lost every Jay Farrell, whoever, you know what I mean, make these like crazy impressions that we all love, can't
there'd be no parody on YouTube.
Profit them anymore. No, like, it, good. Thank God that they won. Thank God that they came to them senses. But you think, like, behind the scenes, somebody came up and, like, said something to somebody at a high level?
I mean, that's what he's saying. He's saying as they got more popular and they pissed off more and more people, especially these conservative Republicans and stuff, they're the ones that supposedly gave the leads to certain people. Be like, hey, this guy, this Luther Campbell guy that's rapping about pussy, he just sampled your song. You're going to let him do that?
No, but, like, when it got to the Supreme Court, do you think that the judge or whoever got talked to behind the scenes?
I don't know. I mean, they didn't go for it. He ended up winning.
The whole
industry, won all his cases. You know what I mean?
Knocked down the whole industry.
He also spent millions of dollars on attorneys and shit.
He did. But he had it, right?
He had hundreds of millions of dollars. The thing that happened towards the end of his career, well, not the end, but the end of, like, this point, is that he had to go bankrupt and file Chapter 11 because he started getting so much money. I mean, this guy is resilient because he got it from all angles. And it got so crazy that at the beginning, the lawsuits would be like 2 Live Crew versus this person or whatever. Towards the end, they were just suing him. And so it turned into Luther Campbell, and you would see that on the legal paperwork. And it was even crazy. He had an in-house attorney. It seems like this always happens in the music business whenever anybody's successful. The attorney fucks it's always going to be the antagonist that comes through and fucks shit up. Yeah. And in this case was an attorney that was in-house. And, even though Luke was very smart on the promotion end and the writing end and the production end and the creative side of it, the laws, since everything was still new, like I said, there wasn't no Master P's. Right. There wasn't any of these people that you could look and be like, oh, they fucked up, so let me do that. So he had to figure it all out. And the in-house attorney at Luke Skywalker Records started to get the axe to kind of go with him, and he would tell them, hey, you're not under a contract. You should re-sign your contract. And that started fucking up the money. So there was 3. What happens is if you owe 3 entities money, they can file on you to basically do an involuntary bankruptcy because you owe these 3 people money, or these 3 parties, these 3 entities, corporations,
they force you into artists. Bankruptcy?
So it was because of the attorney. He gave them advice. This is his attorney that he hired for his own company.
Why?
The guy wanted to make money. There was $100 million. They were making $10 million a year. If he would represent the artist, there would be some money there to be made. You know what I mean? So when he got the involuntary bankruptcy papers, he's like, what's going on? So he got another attorney. And that's how he found out the in-house attorney was fucking up, because when he got the other attorney to fight, he's like, yo, this guy is not helping me at all trying to fight this case. And a lot of these contracts that you have that are being sued, because all the members for Two Live Crew, not including Ice, they're always been buddies, but the other members, they started suing him. The other artists that were signed to Luke Skywalker Records started suing him. So the new attorney advised him to go and file Chapter 11 bankruptcy, because what you can do with Chapter 11 is basically reorganize your company, get rid of stuff. And he, at the time, even though when he first started, I heard the story that since nobody would give him distribution, he figured out that any records that were sold on the West Coast were basically manufactured in California. Any records that were sold on the East Coast, I think there was a plant in Philly. And then any of the records that were sold in the Caribbean and South America were manufactured in Miami. So he found the manufacturer, and I guess they were kind of going under business because a lot of the music that was being marketed to the Caribbean and South America was cheaper. So their manufacturing costs were cheaper because of that. But they told him, hey, we can't keep up with your demand. You're going to have to hire your own staff. We'll give you the equipment, but you got to let them work it. This man was literally pouring his own vinyl and stamping them out and releasing them.
Nice.
Towards the end, he started getting sick of that, and he wanted to team up with a record label to basically handle that for him. Because he was just getting too busy. They were constantly touring. Crazy ass side story. I guess his brother actually went to engineering school and was going to be one of the first black astronauts.
Oh, yeah?
And he never made it to, space, but he was involved in aerospace as far as engineering and manufacturing. And his brother had his own manufacturing company for jet parts. So he would get sometime jets to fix and stuff and rent out and lease. And since Luther had the money, his brother was like, yo, just pay for the maintenance of the jet. We'll let you take it. And this guy, when Run DMC first stepped on a jet, it was because Uncle Luke.
Luke's jet.
You know what I mean? So he was doing more shows. He was able to do 2 shows in a day. So he had less time for the manufacturing and stuff. So that's why he teamed up with record labels.
Damn, dude.
And
I had no idea.
It's crazy.
I had no idea the level. Yeah. I had no idea.
You know what he did with his first check? His first big check?
What?
He bought his mama a house, but then he also started a youth football league.
Of course he did.
And that youth football league, basically, he took the Pop Warner kids and brought them into high school. And the Pop Warner team, they hadn't won a championship in 50 years. Luke came along, they won the championship.
Oh, my God, pay for play?
High school, same thing. And then he followed those kids all the way up into college. Some of them are in the NFL right now. And he says that is... maybe he's just speaking to be a nice guy, but he said that is the most valuable thing that he's ever done.
How can't it be? Because that's priceless. It's literally
changing people's
priceless every single time.
Yeah.
And anything else you do, even with the whole, because even the shit with the First Amendment and all that just affects .nothing% of people in the world.
Yeah.
It really doesn't. It's just, it's people who make music who are good enough at making music that they, or comedy or whatever, that they make it to a national, worldwide stage. And that's such a small percentage of people.
Yeah.
But when you're like picking people in your community and putting them on a path like that, that affects them, their family. They get rich. They get to do something with their, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because you gave somebody First Amendment right to say something doesn't mean you guarantee them a great life.
I mean,
if you put them through, not put them through, but give them those, you make it easier for them to succeed, and they become an NFL star, bro. They take care of neighborhoods.
Well, not just that, not just the NFL star. Let's talk about Pitbull. If it wasn't for Uncle Luke, there would be no Pitbull. You know, international, world-renowned international artist. You know what I mean? Trick Daddy. All right. Little less known, but still popular amongst hip hop. Remember Gloria Velez? He's the one that really brought her out. He's the reason why Jay-Z started fucking her, putting her videos and shit. So the people, and there's other girls that I can't remember too that he put on. And
Vida Guerra?
Yeah, the fat booty.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's just touched so many people.
Literally and figuratively.
All over the place, bro.
All literally and figuratively.
How much? There's probably... I wonder if he has, he has a few kids, but I would say, like, for all the sex he had.
No matter what number you say, it's less than what he could have had, I guess.
Maybe. You think he's got Will Chamberlain numbers?
Yes. Oh, if there's anybody in the world, it would be this guy right here to probably have ran through a dumb amount, unless he's just not that type of guy.
STDs?
Unless he's just that not. No, he seems like a pretty smart dude. Like, you know, smart people usually don't get those because you kind of keep your shit together.
Yeah.
But hey, everybody slips up.
You gotta wonder all
everybody
that sex.
slips up, dog.
And he survived AIDS, bro. Not even Magic could survive AIDS.
The epidemic.
It was the 80s. Oh, there was a lot of vagina traps.
He got that money though. Maybe he got the Magic medicine before Magic had the Magic medicine.
Penicillin, like in Wolf of Wall Street. Fuck it, we'll just take some penicillin.
Right, we're good to go. That's crazy, man. Nah, maybe he just wasn't that type of guy, you know. But as far as like you're saying, maybe it was just like a fake. It wasn't really, you know. I'm not really out here fucking all these girls.
I was very surprised, you know, like again, growing up, Doodle Brown, you know, Me So Horny, all these songs were like part of my childhood. I was born in 81, so I listened to this stuff as a little kid, and it definitely was something that navigated my youth as far as sex and
I heard it. It was definitely in my ear.
Did you know about all the business acumens and all that?
Not
Me either, bro.
Really, not till today. I knew he was important. I knew more about like strip club culture and him down there.
It's great that you said that. Before Luke, there wasn't any black strip clubs, bro. He was saying in this interview that strip clubs were just for like bikers, like motorcyclers and shit. And then the dudes that were coming to his show and seeing all the girls turning themselves out were like, yo, let me start a black strip club.
Hell yeah.
So that's even Atlanta culture wasn't even around for this. And that's like the mecca of the South right now.
He's ahead of his time, man.
All the strip clubs in Atlanta, you know how that's another thing he's birthed.
Strip club
coincidentally, look at all the money that's made at strip clubs. He is the weatherman.
Yeah, he made it rain early.
He set the foundation of the rain
early. In the 80s, man. I'm sure there's someone who's his godfather. Who's his OG?
So he had a dude named Uncle Ricky that put him on to a lot of politics. He would take him to trips to Washington, D.C. And he says if it wasn't for Uncle Ricky, he would not have the balls to step up to the United States. Like he told him, you know, when he was young, Uncle Ricky would put him on to like Marcus Garvey and Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. So I think those were the seeds that were planted in his head as a young man. Not to mention, in the 60s, a lot of blacks weren't allowed, except if they were working in South Beach or on the white beaches. And he was one of the first African-American kids to be born on the beach at Mount Sinai, which was a white hospital. A lot of the African-American kids would be birthed at Jackson Memorial Hospital, which was like the public, you know, hospital. So, hip-hop has a lot of lineage and connection to the Jamaican culture. Because they ask him, why would you put so much bass in your music? And he's like, because I'm Jamaican.
Yeah. A lot of spice in the food.
I think Bob Marley. I would put Bob Marley up there too. Was probably an influence.
Triple OG Bob Marley.
Because Bob Marley was another one that pressed his own record.
Yeah.
He started his own
radio
record
shit.
label and stuff. So I'm sure those stories were out and were influenced. I'm assuming that last part, but the Uncle Ricky was definitely something that. There's a really good book that he dropped that you guys should go read and download.
Uncle Ricky?
No, it's Luke's book. But in the book, he talks a lot about Uncle Ricky.
You read the book?
I did not, but I heard a lot about it and all the interviews and stuff. I didn't have a chance to read it, but I know it's good because I heard the Comeback Jack podcast while he was on the promo run for the book, and all they did was discuss topics that were in the book, and that's where he was talking about Uncle Ricky and just growing up. The story I told you about him being born in Mount Sinai, and you know all the trials and tribulations were really part of that. Before we end it, I do want to play this crazy ass situation that happened in Dallas, Texas. I think this is it.
Actually live like this because I've seen you guys. You're kind of like, you know, you're businessmen and you do your work, you know.
But a lot of things we have experience.
Oh, you have.
Yeah.
Research.
Yeah.
Research.
Oh yeah. You can't if you never play football, you can't coach the game.
Do you feel that you have a positive role model for the youth?
Yeah, we feel damn well we have a positive role model. We're successful black young men. How many is out there in America today? We're just another target, just like a whole lot of other black companies.
Racism is very much alive and doing well.
Racism. They just don't like the idea that these black guys is making all this money.
We were selling records in the black community, it was no problem. When we started crossing over, that's when the problem came.
Do I see any racism involved in the so-called persecution that Two Live Crew is receiving? No.
For black people, you know, sometimes we sit down and think whether or not the First Amendment applies to us.
Number one, they have a constitutional right to choose, and I think that should not be taken from any man, regardless of race, creed, or color.
You had these leftover bigots out there, the leftover racists, the ones who didn't like Elvis, the ones who didn't like black singers, these right-wing group people who sent around, don't listen to nigga music and don't do the nigga dancing and all this here. We do have a few of those people left over.
I think it exemplifies the fact that we're still a racist society and that certain groups and certain people will be singled out for special unfair and unjust treatment.
You know, there are people out there that say that all the arrests and the hoopla and all that are the best things that ever could have happened to you guys, and that's why y'all are making money.
It is actually helping us, and we're selling more records. I mean, we're on a totally different level.
Such a double-edged sword that all that controversy really benefits you.
6ix9ine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Last year this time, and you know, just like I say, when you're an entertainer, the more you're in the spotlight, that increases your value.
I want just as much as any other.
What do you want?
You know what I don't want to say it. You know what I want.
Go ahead and say it.
Woo something, woo something, woo something, woo something.
The sexual dances that he shows on TV aren't really perceived as people who do them like I do. They're not perceived as being sexual. It's fantasy. It's a way to get loose. How do you feel that you are affecting
Hell yeah.
youth as they say that you're supposed to be?
We're not affecting no youth. We have two different versions of our album.
You keep adult things in adults' reach. You keep children's things in children's reach. Just like, you know, medicine. Keep out of the reach of children. This ain't something that they're supposed to have.
How do you do a clean version of some of these songs? Seems like if you did a clean version, you not only get rid of the theme, you get rid of 80% of the lyrics.
There's two sides of every story. You know, you don't quote one side of some lyrics, you got to get the other side. That's why we have two versions.
That made no sense.
We were, sexual virgin. We're sexual guys.
Sexual healing is healing.
Yeah. Making love is our claim to fame. Let me say, I'll be so horny. Somebody say, I'll be so horny.
Yeah, right there.
Anytime, man. My name is Lita Dickerson.
Mad at your hair.
Lita Dickerson.
Ballroom in Dallas, Texas.
All right, here it is.
Man.
So let's peep this story
Show
out.
tonight we have playing the Two Live Crew.
So you guys at the Longhorn Ballroom tonight. Show starts at 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
They're controversial because of their type of music and their actions while they are playing their music.
Did y'all bring those girls with the big butts and the fishnets?
Woo! The city tried to close us down because I think primarily they did not want
Oh my
crew
God.
to perform here.
He's excited.
We did get a restraining order that did let us go ahead and have the show tonight.
Longhorn Ballroom will remain open and Two Live Crew will perform tonight.
It got crazy.
I bet it did. Oh, they had tables? The fuck?
The show must go on. We have to be late.
How we got lost? What happened?
It was Marquis' fault.
Yeah, it was my fault. He had to get a sexual erection.
He had a sexual erection.
He gets an erection.
I was squeezing one off and motherfucker couldn't make it, you know what I'm saying? I tried ice, lotion, grease, and all, and motherfucker just wouldn't come.
Everybody beats off, you know.
You can't get it every night.
See, that's what happened to his other arm.
Socket.
Yo, the locker room conversation at backstage at a Two Live
I've
Crew.
never had a conversation so extensive about masturbation with my friends. Like, that was such a long time to talk about that. Like, usually it's a comment, right? Bust off on blah, da 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 blah. You so stupid, blah da blah, some sex joke. But like, There's a lot
It's
of talk.
a 2 Live Crew, bro.
It's a lot of talk about.
It's a lot of content that they have to develop.
A lot of mass talk.
Yeah, that's what my doctor told me to hide it, you know. I'm sorry.
So do you think that your music like turns people on or not?
Nah. It's like a relief. When you go to our concerts, it's like it relieves you. You go out there and say, yo, fuck it. Hey, we want some pussy. You know, it's like a relief. One night, man, we had like a water fight in Orlando. We was throwing water.
Yeah, those two girls almost doing each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was some great shit.
What's up, Orlando?
Orlando!
What year was this? We should find him on Facebook.
It's like everybody, it seems like everybody start freaking, and when they see one do it, you know how it is. You know, like back in the old days where it's like, you do it, I do it.
Now, folks, I know y'all been waiting a while, but 2 Live Crew will be coming on real soon.
Luther, do you mind telling us what the problem is here?
We wait to get paid.
Oh, I see.
No pay, no play.
I got it.
That's an old rule in the book. You want to see a show, right? And we came all the way from Miami, Florida to do a show, right? But in order for us to do a show, we got to get paid. So we don't get paid, then we don't do no show. So give us our money and we go out there and show our ass. They'll take our black ass to jail tonight.
The outflip.
We paid money.
They better do something fast.
Yes, Lord. Oh, the house is gonna come down. Now, come on, y'all, just settle down now.
No money. Man, they got for $2,000 in a check. We don't take checks. Ain't that a bitch? Well, cut the light on. Get the fuck out of here.
Shut up, bitch.
We want you to exit to the back of the building now.
And it's about to get real as fuck.
We've had instances where we haven't got paid, you know, to go out and we left, but it was never nothing like that happened. You know, this is the first time that an actual big brawl has, you know, came.
A riot. All they have to do is pay them. Oh my God! Look at that.
Them weapons.
Look at that.
And that was the last time they put chairs and tables out.
That was the last
It's like,
time.
you know what? I don't like putting these motherfuckers out anyway.
And fuck all these damn chairs.
Sell these goddamn shits. Look at this one. She's like still waiting. Like, I think maybe they might be coming out.
You know what you see? Something that you never saw in your life. You see white people, Mexican people, and black people throwing chairs and saying, fuck this in. They were together.
Yo, he's such an optimist, bro.
Well, you know,
He's
he was Rick Ross before Rick Ross, where you can just like say the worst situation in the most positive way.
But they were together.
They were together.
They were throwing the chairs,
united.
but they were united
America
and throwing
united.
the chairs.
Similar to how he used the First Amendment for his pussy songs. Yo! Damn,
she's like, I came here to pop my pussy.
Oh, right.
I came here to pop my pussy.
Right? She wanted, I want to let loose. So horny.
Breakout you would ever seen in the United States of America, in this whole country, where all of them did the shit together.
That's right here. Don't let nobody get the fucking. Don't let nobody get that band.
Yo, offer up to that guy fell down. Yo, people are pissed.
I don't like to see anybody else get hurt when they don't have to, you know.
Told me don't pay them, there's gonna be trouble.
You hear that, security?
Fuck yeah, I'm head of security. Being from Miami.
God bless Tommy.
You head of security? Fuck yeah, I'm head of security. Told him you don't pay him, there's gonna be problems.
You know me, shit, I see a little violence every day. You know what I'm saying?
But you don't want to perpetuate violence.
No, I don't want to start no trouble or be in no trouble, but just shit happens.
There you go. It goes down.
Yo, the people that to clean that shit up.
Only music that when you go to the concert,
So where was this show?
you see black and white.
Dallas, Texas.
That was Dallas, Texas. Damn, the motherfuckers was not playing games with their money. Back then, was that like $10?
Maybe.
It's like,
If
motherfucker,
that,
where's
I'll
my
fight it
10?
for $5?
Where's my $10?
I mean, they got a $2,000 cash and then a check, so they couldn't be making that much money. Maybe they gave him $10,000 for the show.
Maybe, right? But
why not just pay them?
Didn't have the money. It was one of those places, you know.
They didn't have enough.
They just didn't have it, you know. Sometimes you've experienced that, right? You just didn't. I don't have the money. I want to say I have the money. You remember that? That. What's the name of it? Slaughterhouse video. It was like Joe Budden, and Joel, or was it was it Method Man? Was
well,
it might have been
talk about Method Man?
It was the one. It was the Rock the Bells. It was the Rock the Bells documentary.
Okay.
Remember?
Yeah, but that was because Joe Budden was online talking about how, because Vibe came up with the top 50 top artists or whatever. And he was like, they got Method Man in front of me, like Method Man in front of me, and that's what sparked that whole thing. And then later on, they caught up with him at Rock the Bells and punched his lights out.
Right. But what I'm talking about, like, he the guy from like France double booked the group. Not double booked him again after screwing them over the first time, but booked him the second time to kind of make up for the first time. It's like, oh, I want to pay you now. But before, he just skipped on had him perform and then skipped on the whole paying them.
And I didn't know that.
I keep in my brain, I don't know if it's Crooked Eye or Raekwon that's pissed off. So I can't, if it's in my brain, I can't remember which group it was. It was Wu-Tang or Slaughterhouse, but one of those two got screwed over. And why not pay him? Because you don't have the money. Have to be, because
you think not enough people showed up? Is that what it was?
Nah, just motherfucker. I mean, and I'm not a promoter, but sometimes people just do it wrong, you know, and they don't have the money to pay.
I mean, if they sold tickets, or unless they spent the money before.
Sometimes they just do it wrong, you know, and they end up with, or they don't have as much as they need, or whatever. I don't know, but they picked the wrong bunch of motherfuckers that night, and they gave them all weapons. It's like, whoops.
There's a chair to sit on.
Gave them 5 weapons apiece. Table and 4 chairs.
Yo, man.
And alcohol.
Clean up on the dance floor.
You don't want them shits anyway. I mean, you got to put them all out. You got to put them, stack them every time. You know, whoever's like the bus boy or whatever who has to do that is like happy as fuck. It's like, yo, we're never using them shits again, I bet. Hell no.
Oh, man, if you were influenced by Uncle Luke, maybe he nutted on your mama's face.
Oh, God.
Just know that it was for the culture. If it wasn't for Uncle Luke, we would not have the freedom of speech.
All of it was not for the culture. A lot of it was him trying to have sex.
It was. If he pee-peed on your mama,
oh, God.
it was for the culture.
It wasn't for the... Oh, my God. No, it wasn't.
Well, that was the Uncle Luke story. Very inspirational. This is the type of human that every man should aspire to be, and the world would be a better place.
Mm-hmm.
If we had Uncle Luke running for president against Trump,
he would lose.
You think Uncle Luke would lose?
By a lot.
I mean, he always took it to the court and won. He's that jack of all
argue
trades.
You can't argue your way into the presidency. You can only lie and lie your way into the presidency by telling people you're going to do certain things.
You trying to call Trump a liar?
I think everybody who's been a president has ended up being a liar. Every single president.
It's a lot of people you got to please.
Yeah. So you can't, it's like you're setting yourself up for failure from the beginning. You can't
That's
be everything to everybody and then make everybody happy. So as soon as you say, you just got to, as a constituent, you should just be aware of that fact. That everything
leadership period, that's going to happen.
Everybody's not going to be happy.
Even as a parent, I'm sure.
Never.
I'm sure.
It's never a thing that's 100%. I've been yelled at. I've gotten doors slammed in my face. You know, I've reacted different ways to it, you know, and we move on. We move forward. Luke helped in a lot of ways. I'm sure hurt in a lot of ways. And, but I think it was necessary.
Very necessary.
Growth, you know.
Very
growth.
necessary to pop that pussy.
I think it is.
Doodle Brown.
I think everybody has a right to pop whatever they want, and I think he made it kind of cool to stand up for that, right? So props to him. And I may not have been the biggest fan of his music because I was born in 81, so it's not like my music or whatever.
Right.
I was born in 82, so it's not like my music or whatever. But hey, man.
That real Miami bass.
Freak girls, sex girls,
yeah,
big
man.
booty hoes.
It's a Fresh Produce Florida Media
Pop with
at
it.
Gmail. Email us your favorite Luke song, 2 Live Crew. Even if it's Pop That by French Montana.
Right? And then what's ironic is that Luke said some shit about like him owing him something for using that sample when you was been in fucking trouble for using samples.
It all comes full circle.
How easily we forget, Luke.
It all comes full circle. I'm Fredo Peens.
I'm still Chris Thompson.
And this is the Fresh Produce Florida podcast. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. Share this with the world. And don't be afraid to pee on bitches if you have to.
Don't pee.
Ask their permission, though. Don't be doing like a R. Kelly. We see what happened to that young man.
Get permission
older man.
from the women, and then don't do it.
Peace and love, y'all.